Hey guys, Frankie D here. Um, so this is my latest video. Today is like the 5th of December. Shit, I don't even know. Let me look. Today is Monday, December the 6th. It is it's about 3 o'clock in the morning. I don't sleep well. In the hospital, I probably just sleep a couple hours a day. But I rest a lot. It's just a lot going on, a lot of loud noises. A lot of times them coming in and waking me up and checking my vitals, or coming to tell me that they need to change the battery in my telly, or that I need to, give them blood, or checking on me, make sure I got my oxygen mask in. I had a really weird occurrence earlier today. My feeding tube that was in my nose, it fell out. That's uncommon. Your body, tries to push it out, and there's usually a little lock on it. But this one didn't have a lock on it, because I've had an issue since I got out of the ICU where I've had to have like 5 of those things installed, and today when it fell out, they just didn't mess with it again. I go to see the speech person in the morning. Now when you think speech, you think of talking, right? That's not what the speech person here does. The speech person here judges how well that you swallow, and so they're the ones that decide your diet. So immediately after my surgery, I saw one of the speech therapists, and she gave me the news that nobody wants to get. She was like, we're going to be safe and give you the test. I know you've had it before. And what they do is they hook you up to like an ultrasound, like a sonogram, and have you swallow different stuff, and then watch it go down. And sometimes what happens is a very little bit of that liquid will go places it's not supposed to, towards your lungs, for instance. And that's a big no-no. And in the medical profession, they always err on the side of caution, which is not happy, for me, when I get told that, okay, well, let's just be safe, and you can have ice chips and water, and you have to take little bitty sips of the water, turn your head down, and then swallow. And I do it. I really do, and it looks kind of retarded. Because I'm just like, sip, turn my head down, sip, turn my head down, sip, turn my head down, just to get one little gulp of water. But I do it because they tell me to, and if this experience has taught me any sort of lesson, it's been that for a lot of things in my life, I chose the easy way out. I kind of skimmed along and just did what I wanted, and just hoped and prayed it would work out for me. And it did for the most part, I thought. And then everything went to shit really fast. And and then I was laid up in here in the beginning of the pandemic. I never had a visitor. I came here in a helicopter from Macon, and I never had one visitor. They wouldn't let anybody in. My people would drive up here and sit in the parking lot. But anyway, I digress. So what's been going on? There's been I had a death in the family and that's the reason that I haven't done my videos for the last couple days. But I'm going to catch you up on everything that you missed out on, as far as my explant and how everything's going. So I wasn't going to do a video about chest tubes. Chest tubes they're pretty gross. And if you ever have to have them, you're just going to have to go with it. You're going to have to deal with it. Relish those things that hurt and that inconvenience you, because they show you that you're alive, and that you're feeling something, and it's real. But like I said, so I wasn't gonna do it because they're pretty nasty. But there is a really smart nurse here that I know that had come over from the other side to check on me, and I've got an order to remove mine this morning at it's 6 a.m. It's going to be at 6 a.m. so that I can go to X-ray afterwards. There's certain little procedures that they won't do on the night shift, and the reason that they won't do it on the night shift is because they don't have all the resources that they have on the day shift. If something were to happen, so it's just safer not to do it. And that's not to say that people don't code at night. Somebody was directly below me, directly below 2 doors down from me, earlier, that coded in the middle of the night, and they were down in 7B, and 7B is the CVICU. So, it was somebody that was in really bad shape. And I hate hearing those code calls, because sometimes it's neonatal, and that just scares me to death. I love and support and appreciate people who can do surgery on children. I don't have that kind of resiliency. I couldn't do it. I'm tough as fuck, but there's just no way. I couldn't cut into a baby. And I'm sure it's different when they're doing it, because they know that they're going in that to save that child's life. But just the thought of it makes me, ill to my stomach. So anyway, back to what we're gonna have done in the morning. Now, I put on pants for y'all today. I don't normally do that, so that I could show you these balloons. Okay, so what I've got is I've got 2 9-gauge hoses, and they're coming out of the middle of my abdomen, and they're running up to my lungs, and they're on balloons. I believe that's what it is. Like these are one to each lung, and then the large one that they already removed in the ICU was for my chest cavity itself. I think I'm pretty sure it's something like that. But anyway, so this is what you end up with. Okay, I've got this covering, and this is just a strip, and it's going all the way across, and it's only covering 3 little holes. I say little. One of them was 28 gauge. 28 gauges. It's not little. These 9-gauge ones, they're small. But this is what I got going on. These things right here are called balloons, and they empty them and they press them so that they've got an indentation, and then these things just act with suction, and any blood or fluid that collects and comes down into them. Super cool. This one it's just about empty. It is showing nothing. So it has no purpose anymore. Um, when I first had this one emptied, it had a little bit of clear fluid in it, and that's good. You know, when your body starts producing that clear liquid and quits bleeding, you know that something's going right, um, or you're leaking water. But anyway, so now I'm gonna show you this other one. And guys, this stuff's a little bit gross, okay? But an LVAD explant is kind of a gross procedure. So if you don't want to see something gross, now's the point where I'd fast forward like a minute. But anyway, so this one is full, obviously. It's still got a little bit of indentation in it, and it is not quite. It's at like the 80, the 80 cc line, and it anyway. So they're gonna come in to take my vitals in anytime now, and I'm gonna have my nurse empty that one, because even though I'm getting it out in about 3 hours, it looks full, and I don't like carrying them around when they're full. They just dangle and bangle. When I'm laying down and I'm just laying here in my robe, they're laying in my crotch. That's why I had to put on pants for this video. Okay, so let's go over the abdomen and stuff real quick. So this dressing here, this big guy, it is just covering where those two little lines went, and then that one big one. And they just used a big dressing because the shit might leak. Might leak blood, out of your abdominal cavity. And so they just use a big ass dressing. This dressing hasn't been changed. It's been on there for like, let's see, it's got 1130 on one covering, and it's got 12/4 where she peeled it back and checked it, and she put a clean gauze where the big hole was. That's when they removed the first chest tube. Okay. Now moving on, I got a bunch of old scars, like from the first several heart surgeries, but there's, every single one is all new. They don't just sit there and go back in. So I'm gonna have I'm gonna look like I've been in a bunch of knife fights. And guys, real quick, I look like shit, I know it. But the thing is that I'm not a YouTube influencer. I am an LVAD patient, and this is how you look after a week in the hospital. You're unshaven, and your hair's unkempt, and your glasses are dirty, and you're just kind of riding it out. So because of that, I'm not gonna worry about my looks. I'm not doing this so y'all can look at me and think I'm pretty. I'm doing this for the people that want or need an explant, and they don't have any information about it. That's the entire purpose for this. I went online to find out information about my LVAD explant, and there was zero on YouTube. So I felt obligated to do this. And again, if y'all ever have any questions, never hesitate to ask. I don't necessarily respond quickly because I only check the comments section every few days, and I don't leave the notifications on for it. because I'm in the hospital is, when my family calls, my phone rings. We're going to take a quick stop right here in the abdomen and show this device. That's the telly. Okay? If you know what tellies are and how they work, you know that the way that I have rolled it up and put it in this pocket is less of a sequence and more of an art form. It is ridiculously hard to get these things in these pockets. They cut the hole in the back of this so that the cables can come, in. Let's see if I can get it open. But anyway, yes, so the cables, oh shit. Hang on. Alright, now we're back rolling. Sorry about that, guys. I had an earbud fall out. These J-Buds were like $20, and they sound great, but they don't stay in your ears for shit. Okay, so anyway, or first up. Anyway, so yeah, the telly is in there, pimp tight. Come down here, and it goes through the shirt and to all my monitors. Alright, so what I've got going on my chest right now, I'm gonna let's see, I'm gonna get y'all hooked up and show you what I got. Oh, and by the way, I'm in a little bit of pain, not much, like a 1 or a 2, and that's after a couple of like 20 milligrams of oxycodone. I wanted to do it with no opiates, but you can't. It's not that, oh, you can't do it, you're not tough. It's not a good idea. When you're in a lot of pain, your heart is in stress, and so you have to actively manage your pain. And then when that bad pain is over, you got to stop taking them opioids. Guys, it's an epidemic. I could get them to write me a prescription when I leave here for, 20 milligram oxys, and no sir, not for me. I don't do drugs anymore. I'm not going to be taking any oxy home. I've actually got Dilaudid on call right now, and I refuse to take it. I took Dilaudid on day 2, and it was just too strong. But back to our chest examination. Here we go. All right, it don't look like much. These are, man, I'm gonna take these off. Okay. These are just lidocaine patches. They get a little gross. But they actually seem, ooh, there's some loose skin. They actually seem to help. I think it's in my head though. I do. I think it's because I believe that they work. Okay, let's get a good look at this. Oh man. Okay, so gross lidocaine patches are removed. Here's what we have. Alright, this is a sternal wound. They did a really good job. This was my 3rd time with them going in, and they put my tattoos back together really well. This last time, Dr. Donnelly took and made really careful to make the wire knots flat against the sternum, because the last time, it was a nightmare. You could see them things just sticking out of my skin. And anytime my kids would, jump up on me, or my puppy, it would hurt, because they're titanium and they're sharp, so when you hit them real hard, it cuts you on the inside. But yes, so this is my chest wound, and I've got old scars all around here, and a bunch of new ones. And props to Dr. Domley for putting my tattoos back together. That's my baby girl's name, Lilith Nicole. That used to be a clown, in a star. Oh, and of course my bullseye, my first tattoo. It's got a couple band-aids here. The band-aids are just covering little bitty things that were actively bleeding. I actually thought that it was funny that they even used them. Like, this isn't a band-aid situation. But, I digress. So going a little further, there's my neck. Man, I wish I could see what I was showing you. Okay. I'm gonna buy a camera for this. I've got to quit using my giant cell phone. Anyway, so that's those are my wounds, and that's what it looks like. So I described to you the LVAD and where it was. Well, your heart is a muscle and it has nerves. So when something happens to it, believe it or not, you can feel it. So I can feel like this little, like almost a burning pain, where they capped it off from my aortic valve. And then I can for certain feel the bottom where they would have removed the pump hole and then just folded it over and just oversewn it. With some sutures that can just, they'll live there. That'll be their place in life. They'll just, bond with my heart muscle material. I guess I think that they're like disintegrating over time. They may stay in there forever. Who knows? But the heart will heal back together. So I mean, even if they are stuck in there, they don't have a purpose. Anyway, so yeah, I'm like, a week out from my surgery, and I feel good. I do. I'm in really good spirits. I'm not in a lot of pain. My pulses are averaging a little tacky. Just remember, tacky means up, Brady means down. I don't know why at all. Don't have a clue. But like, that first level where you wouldn't want it to be would be called sinus tack. I think it starts at like 140. I don't know. Don't quote me. If you want to know about sinus tack, Google sinus tack, and it'll be like, boom, this is what it is. Bradycardic, I think, is another word that would be an interesting Google. The last time I had a problem with the skin pulling apart, and that is called wound adhesions. And what had to happen was I had to go back and they had to take out the lowest of my wire knots. And then they had to oversew the skin. So I've got, some funny little scars out here where they just like oversewed it across. And it was, it wasn't very painful. It looked like it was going to heal good, and then it became a blister, and then that blister became a 1/2 inch wide. And then it became scar tissue. And so what they did this time, because as Dr. Domley says, I'm such a little fella, referring to me being skinny. Well, I hadn't been healthy enough to be fat. You know, fat people are healthy. You know, until they get too fat, and then they're unhealthy and fat. And guys, you don't want to be unhealthy. You don't. I promise. I used to look in the mirror, and like a week before heart failure, before my heart just completely gave out, I was taking selfies in the mirror because I looked so good. I was in such great shape. You know, I had really good muscle tone, and you know, I thought I looked good. I thought I was healthy, and I was about to fall out dead, and I didn't have a clue. I didn't even feel bad most of the time. Most of the time, I felt fine. Sometimes, just a little shortness of breath, just light shortness, and it would be, hey girl, it's going good. Anyway, guys, I'm gonna make this time to take a break. I'm about to get my vitals checked, and I'm gonna ask her about draining this balloon. Um, well, guys, listen, if you have any questions, holler at me. And until next time, here's Frankie D, and this is my LVAD Explant.